Hello and welcome to your course project for the Smithsonian Institute Ocean Company. We're going to be working on something called the Sea Dragon Collaboration Project. And the Sea Dragon Collaboration Project is a course case study for you set up based upon 10 different collaboration events. So you have 10 modules to explore an international business collaboration effort or challenge for a project called Sea Dragon. Now, Sea Dragon is a fictitious mini-sub exercise that we've got lined up for you, where each module that you've got, you're going to explore a new collaboration technique, a new way to create collaboration in a teaming environment. And you're going to have an international team of 3 research scientists, once again, that are going to dive to the bottom of an underwater volcano off the coast of Greenland. Now, in this particular case study, what I want to do is I want to walk you through all 10 components associated with it to give you a good, clear understanding and an introduction into what we're going to focus on for the next 10 modules. One of the things that I really think you need to understand is that this is a fictitious set of case scenarios. So this hasn't really happened, but it's going to feel like it has, or it is happening in real time, because you're going to have an evolving set of events that are going to happen, and you're going to have to make decisions. You're going to have to look at how do you create information, and you're going to have to look at how do you actually explore collaboration in a business environment. How do you really make that happen? So the learning modules are focused on that, and in module 1 you're going to have the project kickoff. So your collaboration team is going to create an announcement. That announcement is that you are putting the Sea Dragon project into the water, that the project is kicking off, and we're going to have you create 2 different things. So one, you're going to go into Tumblr and you're going to create that message, and you're going to take a Tumblr business account once you've created it, and you're going to translate that. You're going to find the message that you want to put together, that collaborative message to announce what's happening. So the first thing you have to do is understand who all the stakeholders are going to be, who the key stakeholders are. Put that message together and then go into Google Translate. And the reason we want you to use Google Translate is that this is an international project, which means you're going to have to broadcast to at least a minimum of 3 different languages. Those 3 different languages are going to be the languages at least of the 3 different participants that are in the mini-sub. So you're going to find that there's an international audience that's going to be watching you and following the events that are happening. So it's a combination of not only understanding who the initial stakeholders are, and we've given you a list of who they are. You'll see those in the timeline. Now, when we get into module 2 is where you're going to engage those stakeholders, and to engage them, what we mean is that we really need to understand how they're connected together. So you're going to take that list of initial stakeholders that you identified, and you're going to use Microsoft Visio to create a mapping. It's called a UML case diagram, and that UML case diagram allows you to create an actor, which is represented in the symbol I have below me of kind of like a person, and then who they're connected to, what's the information associated with it, and we're going to lay all of them into this collective case diagram, and then we're going to create that connection, how they're connected to each other, what the responsibilities are, and clarify what we refer to as stakeholder action, association, and the use of case observable results, what those are going to feel like. Now, in module 3, something's going to happen that's going to cause you to need to put out an emergency communication. So you're going to have to understand what are the components of an emergency communication from a collaboration standpoint. So we've got a product that we want you to go into and use to create this. Now don't forget, you're going to create an emergency Gmail account. And in that Gmail account, we're going to have you put this emergency message out to people. And remember, you're going to have to use Google Translate to convert it into at least those 3 initial languages. And you may find that it may be even deeper than that. That there may be more people that you have to communicate with than you thought you initially had to. So this is really to understand when something goes wrong from a collaboration standpoint. Who do we engage? What stakeholders do we need to contact, and what information do we need to be able to provide to them? Now, Module 4 is going to give you the opportunity to really look at things from a trust perspective. So we're going to take collaboration now, and we're going to evolve that Sea Dragon situation down to where you really start to understand what's happening. So something's happening from a situation standpoint, and you need to start looking at things from a trust perspective with the stakeholders you have. So we've got a tool designed for you that we created that gives you the ability to create and measure and map what we refer to as trust channels. It'll give you the ability to take each of the 7 areas of what we refer to as trust, what makes trust, what breaks trust for people, and create these 7 different trust channels to really explore what is happening for you on the Sea Dragon project. You'll really, when you're finished, have I'll call it a complete mapping of what is happening from a trust perspective. So collaboration now is going to be focusing into another area. So when we move into Module 5, we're going to have you create a collaboration analysis T-chart. That T-chart shows you inputs and outputs. Inputs being an assessment of what's happening from a collaboration perspective based on 8 key areas of the project. And then the outputs would be, how do they demonstrate that? What is their ranking? What is their rating? What does that look like? So we've got a collaboration T-chart that you're going to put together. You're going to actually rank and rate your own organization. Your team will create a ranking for yourself, and you're going to look at specific key people, key stakeholders, and what the collaboration analysis would tell you about them. So once you're done with that and you've got that done, we're going to give you the opportunity to play a fun exercise. This exercise is called Operation Atlantis. Operation Atlantis is ultimately looking for you to try to take a series of things that are happening in real time, and you're going to look at things from a land development exercise. That land development exercise ultimately is going to have things associated with purchasing land plots, moving money around. How do you handle communication? There are virtual things that you're going to have to deal with, and you're going to be put into a series of scenarios. Ultimately, you're trying to look for a win-win scenario, but you may find that there's a lose-lose that happens naturally no matter what's happening because of the way we're wired. The way that we think could cause you to focus your collaboration in a very specific direction, and that's what we want you to explore here with that fun game called Operation Atlantis. Now, once you're done with that, we're going to have you really start to understand how you think from using what we call a PTT, Personal Thinking Topology. That Personal Thinking Topology instrument is something we've designed that allows you to really understand how you're wired. Upper brain, lower brain, right brain, and left brain functionality will be illustrated for you off of an initial survey. So you're going to do that, and then you're going to come back and you're going to do your team so that you get not only a personal thinking preference topology, but you're going to get that also, that preference for these 4 different quadrants based upon your team's functionality as a collective. So you're going to take all of you together, understand how it works for you if you were put into a position to request help. How these 4 thinking quadrants are going to either prevent you because of gaps that may exist, or they're going to allow you to excel in specific areas based upon the people that you have on your collaboration team. So that's that PTT, Personal Thinking Topology instrument. It's a very quick instrument. It gives you the ability to just understand at a top 10,000 foot level the different functionality that represents you, your team, and ultimately some of the people you're going to be collaborating with. Now finally, we're going to have you work on cognitive empathy. So in Module 8, we're going to need you to be able to understand empathy. You're going to have to be able to put out an empathetic message, and to be able to do that, that means you really need to understand those 3 kinds of empathy that are focused in your brain. We're going to have you actually create what we call a stakeholder empathy map. It's going to give you the ability to look at specific stakeholders and your ability to be empathetic, their ability to be empathetic, what that mapping would look like so that you can send a message off that contains elements of empathy, that you can be concerned about someone else. So you may find that you have friends or people that are stranded in that Sea Dragon in a different location than we could typically get to, and you've got to put that information out. That information has to have that kind of touch to it. Now in Module 9, we're going to give you the opportunity to really understand positive criticism. So we've got I'll call it a opportunity for you to understand something about yourself and something about the situation that we're going to be putting you into. So you've got a message that you have to put out, and that message has got to have specific components associated with it. You need to be able to point to someone else and have a conversation with them on what went right, what went wrong. How do you provide positive criticism? So we're going to give you the ability to map yourself so you can understand where your skill sets are, and then we're going to introduce you into a series of techniques that allow you to be able to do that. How do you create positive criticism? How do you put the I'll call it the components together to send what we refer to as the final message in and translate it into 3 different languages once again, so that you're talking to people in an international environment, trying to provide positive criticism, which is something that's always delicate, something always complex. And then finally, in Module 10, we're going to have you put together a Sea Dragon collaborative team reward and recognition program, because there's a great success that's happened for you with our mini sub, and we're going to have you put together what that would look like. You're going to create a tangible reward and recognition program based upon a set of deliverables for 3 people that were on that mini sub. In addition to that, all the splinter organizations that were involved are going to need to be thanked, and there's got to be some level of not only recognition, but in certain situations, reward for the overall success of the Sea Dragon project. So you're going to be responsible for putting that project, I'll call it capstone piece together for rewards and recognition. That ultimately is going to lead you to the end of your collaboration process. Now, upon completing these 10 modules in collaboration, you're really going to understand collaboration at a different level, a radically different level than where you started. We're going to introduce you in not only new processes, but the ability to understand yourself, how you interact with other stakeholders, how those other stakeholders interact with you, and you're going to have walked through 10 different situational events that caused you to need to go back and really review how you think from a collaboration standpoint, how your organization thinks, how your team thinks, and how you typically interact with people based upon the events that are happening to you. So this is going to be a fun course project for you. We look forward to seeing what your ultimate solutions are as you move through these 10 modules. So feel free to reach out to us and let us know how things are going. But congratulations, and let's get started on your course project for the Sea Dragon mini sub project. Bye-bye.